Abduction, Chapter 29, Part 2. Echo was also craning her neck to get a glimpse of something out of the ordinary. "Isn't that Ivanovna's car?" she said with the excitement of a teenage girl as she pointed at the car behind us. I turned my head to look, but a delivery van had pulled in behind us, effectively blocking any view of the vehicle that was following us. There would be no way of knowing if the reporter was tailing us unless the van turned off onto another street. "It's probably my imagination," I muttered, "but it's hard to shake the feeling that someone unseen is watching you." Echo nodded, but didn't seem to believe my willingness to let the incident drop. So what did Maxim have to say? I sank back into the back seat. Maxim said he and Ivanovna were settling an old score. "That figures," muttered Echo. "Both of them have a hatred for each other. Anything else?" My mind had been changed about Maxim after this visit. His persona was that of a mafia don, but a part of him cared about people. Not only did he care about his people, but about the people he served. His gym was immaculate and provided a service to the people of Lutsk. And his wine shipping business ran like a purring V8 engine. I could only imagine his winery operated as near as perfect as possible. "Yes, Natasha is missing. She left for lunch and never returned," I said. "She is a young girl. That's not surprising," muttered Echo. "Natasha just wanted the rest of the day off. What's the big deal?" I sighed, but not out of annoyance at Echo's disinterest. Maxim and Valery both know this is not like her to ditch work in the middle of the day. If anything happened, Natasha would call. Echo turned in the front seat to gaze back at me. I was expecting a rebuke or something snarky for my obvious distress over Natasha's disappearance. "I don't know what to say," muttered Echo. "Does Maxim or Valery know her last known whereabouts?" "They didn't mention if they did or didn't know where she went." "You didn't ask? God, I would have hated if I went missing knowing you didn't ask about my last whereabouts. Are you going to look for her?" It took me a moment to soak in the difference in Echo's attitude. I had to be careful that I wasn't going to walk into a trap. Yes, there's a very caring side of my fiancée, but the last time I mentioned Natasha, Echo was ready to rip my tongue out of my mouth. "I have to because no one else is going to look," I muttered. "Maxim has his business to run and Valeria is managing them. That leaves you, Echo, to help me." Echo's lips tightened. This was the Echo I was expecting. No matter her love for humanity and people, Natasha would be the point where she drew the line. Echo looked over at Tatiana for help, but received none. Tatiana didn't even look over at her friend. "Tatiana and I have plans to look for items for Yuliana's wedding," muttered Echo. "We will be keeping an eye out for Natasha, though." "Why do I feel like you aren't telling me something?" Both Echo and Tatiana giggled. "John and Yuliana are in town. While you were busy talking with Maxim, Yuliana called me. They were just entering the city and were going to her aunt's house. Yuliana said she and John would catch up with us tomorrow. After driving in this snowstorm all day, she won't let John do anything but rest. So tomorrow, I think you both should join us girls." Echo was a lot deeper thinker than I gave her credit for being. Other than flatly saying I can't go look for Maxim's missing kiosk girl, she hid it under the guise of our friendship with John and Yuliana. I knew she was right, that we should spend time with our friends. After all, they were the reason we were in the city of Lutsk in the first place. I was at odds with myself, however. As was Echo's wish, I made friends, and one of those friends were missing. Echo could be right in assuming Natasha was a 20-something-year-old skipping work. I didn't take it that way, as did my other Ukrainian friends. It also didn't feel right. After having a person-to-person talk with Natasha, she didn't feel like the kind of person to not call into work and no-show at her place of employment. I knew John would be willing to help if I could pry him away from the girls and their plans. There was one other person that would help as well. That person was Valery, and there was a possibility of getting his help. I knew precisely under what pretense that would be.